All right, part of our exploration of world religions, we were looking at Hinduism. And what we're going to do here is that this screencast is take a look at what's called the caste system. And this is a social system, but it has a lot to do with the religious worldview of Hindus and how they structure their society based on their religious beliefs. All right, so let's take a look at what this is all about. All right, the caste system originated with the Aryans. Now, this is a group of people who we studied early in the year. The Aryans were the people that had invaded the Indus Valley. Again, these were warlike people. If you remember, the cities of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa in the Indus Valley were eventually destroyed, but we never knew really why. Some people have argued that it was the Aryans who showed up. And so as a result, the Aryans may have brought the caste system with them as part of their own belief system. So, what is the caste system then? It's a strict religious and social order. Okay, so it's based both on religion and the social structure of the society in which those people lived. Now, according to the caste system, you are born into your caste for life. There's no social mobility. So you need to understand that you can't change your caste under any circumstances. It just isn't going to happen. Now, this is very different than, say, life in America. So, for instance, we have social mobility. I might actually go out and buy a lottery ticket today, and even though I'm not wealthy, I'll win the lottery and I'll make millions of dollars. So I go from being sort of lower class, all of a sudden I'm higher class based on my wealth. Of course, I might go to Las Vegas this weekend and lose all my money gambling, and within a couple of days I'm back down to lower class. So we have social mobility. You can go up our ladder and you can go down our ladder. It's pretty easy. And in our system, it's based on wealth. It's based on how much money that you have. But in India, that's not an option. Your caste is determined by who your parents were. If your parents were members of a lower caste, you're in a lower caste. If your parents were members of a higher caste, you're in a higher caste. But caste had very little interaction with each other. They never intermarried with each other. And there was just no way that you could change your status. So even if you did win the lottery, buy a lottery ticket and win the lottery, and you were a lower caste, that would not make you an upper caste simply because you had higher amounts of money. It simply would mean that you had lots of money, but you were still a member of a lower caste. So it's based on blood, it's based on who you're born to, and you can't change your caste. You're born into it and you have it for life. Essentially, there is one way that you can change your caste, and the way you have to change your caste is you essentially would have to die. If you do your dharma, you get good karma, and in the next life, your caste might rise. You might rise up in caste because you did your dharma. Of course, if you don't do your dharma, you won't. So that's essentially the only way that this can occur. So keep this in mind. Each caste has its own dharma, its own moral duty, and each caste has to perform that dharma. Also, you'll get karma as a result. You'll get good karma, maybe you'll get bad karma, but your karma will determine your caste. So the last thing to keep in mind there is do your dharma, get good karma. Don't do your dharma, get bad karma. The only way to change your caste is to do your dharma, die a natural death, and then in your next life you should move up. Okay, let's take a look at this chart that comes right out of your text. This is an explanation of the Aryan caste system and where it had its origins. The four major castes emerged from Purusha, which is the first human being. That's shown at the right here. Purusha is identified with the creator god Brahma. The Brahmins, who were the priests, were his mouth. The warriors were his arms. The landowners and traders were his legs, and the laborers and the peasants were his feet. So you can see in that chart there where each section came from. Okay? Now let's get a little bit more detail about what these are. If we fill out the chart that's in our journal, what we'll see here is at the top of the chart we'll have the Brahmins. The Brahmins were, in fact, the priestly class. These were the highest class of people, and they had been responsible for interpreting the Hindu texts. Okay, now this is, just keep in mind, this is from the ancient past, okay? Today, if you're a Brahmin, it's not necessarily that you're a priest, but you may be a descendant of somebody who was a Brahmin 3,000 to 5,000 years ago. The next group, the Kshatriyas, and these are the warriors. Their duties included military conquest and maintaining law and order. Our next group are the Vaishyas, and these are the landowners, merchants, and herders. And these people could be men of wealth, so they could own property, they could own wealth, have lots of cash perhaps, but they were not at the top of the social chart. And at the bottom are the Sudras, and these are the servants and the peasants. And of course, obviously, these as servants would have waited on other people. And so these appear to be the people who are at the bottom of the chart. Now, I could leave it at that, but this is not the full social structure chart that we have in India. And in fact, what we have to add is this other group known as the Harijans. The Harijans are called untouchables. These people are outside the caste system. So they're given the most undesirable jobs like street sweeping, leatherworking, maybe dealing with dead animals. But the Harijans were looked down upon by everybody else in the caste system. In fact, the Harijans are considered so low that they're outside the system. They're not even part of the normal social system. All right, so here's another look at what life as an untouchable might look like. Again, it's really difficult to be an untouchable. They are protected by anti-discrimination laws, but just keep in mind that the sort of poverty and destitute state of their lives is pretty low, and most Americans aren't familiar with the degree of poverty that exists in India, and the untouchables in many cases are people that have to live in such extreme poverty. Okay, let's just do a quick wrap up here and we take a look at caste and its impact on the religions of India. And we've been looking at Hinduism with this screencast and the one prior to this. And basically, the caste system was strengthened by the beliefs of moksha and reincarnation. And caste dominated every aspect of life. Again, so who you married, how you practice your religion, your ability to become reincarnated, were all determined by caste and your ability to perform your dharma, get good karma, in order to achieve moksha. Buddhism, on the other hand, is the next religion that we're going to look at. But let's take a look at this because Buddhism has its origins in South Asia near India as well. And what we know about this is that Buddhism rejected the caste system and the role of Brahmin priests. That's important to understand that. Siddhartha Gautama was the Buddha. He was a real person, and he was not happy with the inequalities that were imposed upon people by the caste system. And so Buddhism helped bring the lower class into the belief system. So when we look at the spread of Buddhism in the early centuries of its founding, we'll see that Buddhism had a lot of appeal to the poor and the down and out, and as a result they were drawn to this religion because it may have in fact been offered them a chance at a life, or maybe a better life, but at least a chance to perhaps in the future achieve some of the things that are desired by Hindus, but to be able to do so free of the restraints of caste, which oftentimes made it difficult for people at the lower end of the caste system to be able to live a moral and ethical life that would get them to the point of where they could achieve moksha. Okay, so we'll look at that with Buddhism. It's a little bit more detailed in the next screencast that we'll do.